Medekali Ntuli, Minister Simon Chelugui, members of the Senate, National Assembly, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am delighted to be here today. Just yesterday, CS Ntuli and myself were in a very far-off country known as Belarus, and we had to use all means possible to get here because we deem that this meeting is extremely important. I'm not just here as a cabinet secretary, I'm here as a stakeholder in coffee. And I always say that my late father left only two inheritances to me. One is P.O. Box 237 Gatundu. I'm one of the very few people who had a post office box. And the other one is membership number 402 in Magomano Coffee Factory. So I was educated through coffee, and I know that coffee has brought so many of us here. Unajua kuna wengine wamekuja kwa chai kama kadhuri, wengine kwa miraa kama lintuli, lakini mimi niko hapa kwa sababu ya kahawa. Your Excellency, this year, Kenya will import 700,000 metric tons of edible oil from Malaysia, from Indonesia, and from such countries. But Kenya will only export 40,000 metric tons of coffee. If we want a statement of how much work there is to do, look no further, that we are going to spend over $1 billion to import edible oil from other countries and only export 40,000 metric tons of the black gold. You remember the black gold of Chepkube. And so there is a lot of work to be done. First on production, but being from this region, I do not think that production is really the problem. Our people are extremely hardworking. Our people are actually human tractors. So all we need to do is to put money on the table. Once we put money on the table, then our people will farm. And by the way, I have never seen, especially people from the counties which are in this region, anything that has money that they do not make efforts to produce, including quails, you remember? Yeah? So just show them the money and, you know, they will be there right ahead of us. That is why I am delighted with the comments made by my brother CS Chelugui, that it's actually me and him who need to put away, to lead the way, to put money into coffee, to create markets, and to create a higher price for our farmers. Then now we can turn to our brother Ntuli and tell him, despite putting money on the table, there was no production. And I don't think that is a problem. So I want to reiterate what CS Chelugui has said. First, in terms of the coffee reforms, which we supported, it is one of the very few things that the previous government and us who are sort of the unofficial opposition to that government, at least we saw that in common. And I remember when CS Munya was launching his roadshow on coffee, despite our huge differences, I'm the one who hosted him in Gatundu for the first meeting. And that time, I think Kaduri we were together, we hosted a meeting of the members of parliament from coffee growing areas in Safari Park. And we said that when it comes to issues of coffee, when it comes to putting money on the table, there cannot be a disagreement. And we are going to work together. So now, as fate would have it, we are now in government. And so what we are asking that government to do is what we are going to do. To begin with, on the issue of the marketing, on the coffee auction, I want to say that even from my ministry, We have got the commodity exchange, and we are fast-tracking it. We have set ourselves a target of next month. We need just a little intervention, Your Excellency, which I will be looking for you to assist us to operationalize commodity exchange, so that the commodity exchange will be the first parallel coffee auction that we are going to have. So that at least we can compare. Mtu achague, do you want to be in that exchange or this other exchange? Secondly, as you have been following what we have been saying as government, is that starting from the next 3 weeks, we are rolling out a county aggregation and industrial park in all the 47 counties. The first 14 counties were advertised some 3 weeks ago. The tenders are actually closing today as we speak, and I'm happy to be here in Meru, where the first of the one of the 14 counties is Meru. So once we award this tender for the aggregation park just here in Vole, it is mandatory, and I've made it very clear to my ministry and to the Council of Governors that within the county aggregation and industrial park, we will work with the county governments to give them the equipment and the machinery that they need so that they can be able to add value and to process their coffee from right here. And so that you can be able to uplift it from here to our various export processing zones. And indeed, we are setting up warehouses for exports in all countries. There is a very huge market for our coffee, starting with Africa. We are putting a lot of effort to open the African market and the other emerging market. Even countries like Indonesia, I was in Indonesia the other day, and we agreed to do joint branding of our coffee with Indonesian coffee. So we are going to do what we need to do to ensure that we expand the markets, we expand value addition, we expand agro-processing. And I want to say that now that Cherugu is here, we had the 3 billion shillings which we passed, I think, in the 2018-2019 budget for the Cherry Fund. I want to recommend, if it is possible, that we see how we can create a special, now that we have moved to the second level of the Hustlers Fund, can we also now create a special Hustler Fund for coffee, so that the Cherry Fund can be accessed through the Hustler Fund, through the transparency of the mechanism that we have created on the Hustler Fund. Finally, Your Excellency, is on the issue of inputs. We have done very well. As we speak, we have got 5 million farmers we've registered on our fertilizer subsidy program, very successful program. Over 2 million bags have been distributed. 10 billion shillings worth of fertilizers have gone to the farmers through this program. And I think it's about time that we also expand this subsidy program to include other farm inputs so as to boost our productivity. I want to see us do that on pesticides and on all other inputs that are required here. Ladies and gentlemen, all these things require money as I finish. And that money, only coffee will grow from trees. The other money will come from our pockets. So when we talk about things like the finance bill, it is because we need that finance bill to be directed to schemes like this. So I have seen that my good friend, the chair of the Coffee Caucus, Honorable Amushomba, is on the list. So the reason why I want you, Amushomba, to support the finance bill is so that we can be able to get money to carry out some of these programs. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.